Hey guys, Mike here from Lunch Money Comics with another comic book roundup video for you. This is where I show off all the cool comics and comic related things I found in strange and unusual places over the last month or so that I have not yet shown on the channel, and man do I have an eclectic mix of stuff I can't wait to show you. But this is a special video because I also have kind of a big announcement. Yeah, definitely a first for Lunch Money Comics. I have a cool event coming up where some of you could actually win some free comic books. I'm really excited about it. It's definitely new to the channel. Stay tuned. I'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to start off with some gifts. Yeah, these actually are things I got from viewers of the channel. Listen guys, I say it all the time, you certainly don't have to send me anything, but every time I do a video where I show that I'm interested in something unusual, people contact me on Instagram saying they have something cool, and even though I tell people they don't have to send stuff and I don't have a P.O. box, they often get sent to my local comic book store, His and Her Comics in Greenfield, Massachusetts. More on them later. And I will get a phone call saying, Mike, there's more mail for you up here. So certainly people do not have to do this, but I really do appreciate it, especially when they're this cool. So these first two comics came from someone named David, who had contacted me actually on Instagram saying he saw my video where I was talking about how much I like foreign comics. He had a couple I'd be interested in, and boy am I. The first one is this. This is Marvel Presents Strange, right? And this is basically a collection of comic books. It was published in Lyon, France in the 80s. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of different stories in here, starting with some Spider-Man, right? Awesome cover with Firelord right there, right? Yeah, and these are full color, right? So we get some Spider-Man, we get some very, famous storylines. Some people recognize the Hobgoblin reveal right there. Yeah, it moves on to some Iron Man in here. Yeah, we get some Iron Man. And I can't remember what's the last one I saw. I opened it up. The owner Nishan was interested in check these out too. We were like, oh, these are pretty cool. Yeah, Avengers is the last one. So yeah, guys, these are super cool. I love foreign comics, especially when they're French because I speak a little bit of French. So does my wife. I really do appreciate this. This is super neat. Happy to add this to my collection. Oh, but he sent me another one. Not as much good shape, but definitely a cool one as well. Same thing, multiple stories, full color, published in Lyon in the 80s. And this one has, it opens up with some, Captain Marvel and Thanos right there. So we get some Captain Marvel, we get some Doctor Strange, of course we get some Spidey in here. And then if I recall, the end of this book is quite interesting. Yeah, it's a Marvel A to Z. It's like the Marvel universes they have where they go alphabetically and it's sort of like an encyclopedia. That's in the back, only it's in French. So yeah, awesome. Once again, David, happy to add these to my foreign comic collection. Although I have French comics, they're from Quebec. These are my first ones from actual France. How cool is that? Thank you so much, David. I really do appreciate it. The other thing I got when I was up there, it actually surprised me. It was a big box. See it right here. And it was from someone named Michael, just like me. And it didn't feel like comic books, right? So he added this nice little note right here. Hey, Mike, thanks again for the awesome content you put on your channel. Hope you enjoy these. It's kind of heavy. I've been talking about Dave Stevens on my channel for a little while now, how I really like the Rocketeer. Did not expect this. This is a box of Rocketeer cards. Check this out. Unopened wax packs of Rocketeer cards, from the movie that came out, the Disney movie. How neat are these guys? Yeah, I mean, they're unopened. The whole box is sealed. I'm curious if I should open these or not. I would love to hear from you guys if I should crack these open and check them out, if I should leave them intact in the box. I don't think they're worth that much money if I did open them up, but I don't know, there's something really neat and charming about having the entire box. Makes me feel like I'm back, as a kid and the comic or the card store in the 90s. So how cool are these guys? You never know what you're going to get from people who watch the channel. I thought that was awesome. Michael, thank you so much for these. Definitely got a kick out of that and definitely did not expect it. That's pretty awesome. So let's jump into some of the unusual places I collect. Yeah, I go everywhere, guys. Flea markets, yard sales, antique shops. But one thing I really love going to, especially in the summer months, are estate sales. So although they're all year round, they kind of pick up, it feels like, in the spring and summer. And there's been a ton of them in my area. I've been scouring, the internet, trying to find when they're going to be, see if any of them have comic books. Well, there was one such estate sale close to my house that not only had comic books, but lots of vintage toys. And I've talked about in the past, guys, if you want to get to the good stuff, you have to be there early. I try to get there 2 hours early, and I absolutely was in this case as well. I was perfectly first in line, ready to go. Ended up being a ton of people in line behind me. So that was the good news. The bad news is the comic books weren't that great. I didn't have any pictures beforehand to tell me what was in there, but I did get some other stuff as well. So let me first show you the other stuff. There were a lot of vintage toys. There was a lot of G.I. Joe, but they were priced really, really high. There was also a lot of vintage video games and He-Man action figures. Again, all priced a little bit on the high side. Wasn't that interested. I did find this cool thing. This is an old Marx tin toy. I think it's from the 50s. And yeah, I think there used to be like tire treads on it, you know, like a tank treads. Those are gone, but it does work. You can wind it up. It does go across the floor. I thought that was pretty cool. I'll tell you the package deal I got in a second. Also, they had lots of old vinyl there. My wife is a big Beach Boys fan, so I got her this. This is Pet Sounds, in my not so humble opinion, one of the best records of the 20th century. It's absolutely awesome. My wife was really happy to see this. But of course, guys, I was mostly there for the comic books, and talk about a strange, eclectic mix. These weren't even really worth bagging. Here they all are. Let me show you what I got. We have one Flash comic right here. We have several G.I. Joes. Nothing really, really good, so to speak of. We have a G.I. Joe Special Missions, a few of those. We have some New Warriors. Talk about random. We have Heathcliff. I remember Heathcliff as a kid. We have all 3 parts of the comic adaptation of T2, parts 1 through 3, and definitely by far the best comic that was in there, although it's not in great shape, Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos number 46. Yeah, you can see it's definitely, there's some chipping up here. It's stained on the back. Definitely older than all the other ones there. Yeah, it's a pretty cool comic book, guys. You know, I have a friend who collects all these from 1967. They're fun. It was pretty neat. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on these comic books, as you could imagine, but everything I got here, you know, having known the people that run the estate sale as well, you kind of like haggle with them a bit. I got the record, plus all the comic books, plus the tank for $20 total, and I'll tell you right now, the tank and the record were priced at $20 total. So I got these for free. Yeah, not the big estate sale score that I'm always trying to land, but still fun to get some of this stuff, guys. Pretty happy to add this, and I know exactly the guy that this is going to. So I thought that was pretty cool, guys. You never know what you're getting at these estate sales. Just make sure you're early. They don't always pan out, but you could hit a big score one of these days. So besides estate sales, one of my favorite places to hunt is flea markets. Outdoor flea markets, indoor flea markets, and big antique shops. And I was visiting my hometown, visiting my family. I was with the wife and kids on the way there, and we decided to stop into the city of Lawrence, Massachusetts. Now, Lawrence is an old mill town. These big textile mills that came up in the Industrial Revolution, there's tons of them all over Massachusetts. And one of the biggest relics of the Industrial Revolution are these gigantic brick mill buildings. Well, this is a very popular thing to do these days. Instead of demolishing these historic buildings, they repurpose them, sometimes into new living quarters, new apartments. Oftentimes there'll be like restaurants, shopping, boutiques, things like that. But a very popular thing to do, because they're old buildings, is turn them into indoor antique shops. And there was a gigantic one that I was excited to go to. I believe it's called Canal Street Antiques in Lawrence, Massachusetts. And it was awesome. My wife loves antiques as well. My kids love, you know, doing the treasure hunt. So it was a very cool, huge place. And yeah, I found comic books, nothing really that good, and they were all overpriced. But I actually found something quite interesting for a pretty good price. And it was hidden next to, you know, a whole bunch of other kind of really cool retro things. I was interested. I got pulled into this booth right away. And then it caught my eye. I looked down and I saw a board game. Now, I've mentioned this on my channel in the past as well. In addition to comic books, I collect lots of other things, including board games. And this is the best of both worlds. This is a comic book board game, and it is this. So this is X-Men Mutant Revolution, published by WizKids. And this was sealed, like actually wrapped in plastic when I found it. And it's a very cool game. You play the game as one of 4 different mutant leaders. Your choices are Storm, Cyclops, Magneto, and Wolverine. And you are recruiting other X-Men and students to your appropriate mutant school. And yeah, you're basically trying to compete with one another to get the best school and also do really cool missions and things like that. It's fun. I played it with my son. It's a very cool game. And it was sealed. And this game can go for quite a bit sealed. It's a big, heavy game with lots of cool components. And I got it for $12. Sealed. Now, how did I get it that cheap? Well, this is why. The box was damaged. Still sealed, but it had been hit, you know, by like, you know, the shipping truck or something like that. And because of this damage, they dropped the price way down. That's fine. Nothing a little bit of packing tape won't fix. and the inside of the game is fantastic, guys. So let me know down in the comments if you played this game before. Yeah, a little bit complicated, definitely a little clunky. It was fine for me and my son who are, big time board gamers, but I can see how some people would be turned off. But if you like X-Men and you like lots of mutant components, guys, it's a very cool game, especially pick it up for $12. Can't go wrong. Really fun. Flea market find. A little bit non-traditional with the other comic books I wanted to show you, but pretty cool nonetheless. All right, guys, so I mentioned that big announcement in the beginning. I was going to wait to the end, but this next stack of comic books actually kind of has to do with that. So I'm just going to talk about it right now. So this stack of comic books are from my friends Josh and Larry, real life friends. They live in the area. I've mentioned them several times on my channel in the past. They've even appeared in the flesh. Not only are they great guys and great comic collectors, they sell on the side. They sell at local comic book shows, flea markets, and they've recently started selling on Whatnot. The name of the show is Magic Geeks, and I've mentioned them several times on my channel because although I'm blessed with some fantastic comic book sources around me, clearly I buy comic books everywhere, a lot of people, don't have that luxury and they have to go to other places like Whatnot. And for those of you that don't know what it is, it's an online live auction application where you can buy anything you want, but it's become pretty popular with comic book collectors. So they've been slowly selling, and because of that, I've gotten more involved in sort of what Whatnot is, and to support them, I bought a few books from them, and then I did a couple videos where I mentioned it. Well, because I mentioned Whatnot a few times in videos, they contacted me asking if I would like to do a collaboration. Now, let me be crystal clear here, guys. I've been doing Lunch Money Comics for a year and a half, and ever since people really started watching my channel, I've had a ton of people solicit me to do endorsements, collaborations, and sponsorships. Practically every day I get emails, and every single day for a year and a half, I've turned people down. It is just not something I do. Lunch Money Comics to me is about the hobby itself. It's about finding comic books in really cool places, ones that I love, my passion for the hobby, sharing those books with all of you. It's never been about, the market. It's never been about the financial side. I don't even like talking about like the hot list, like the hot comic books of the top 10s. I don't do that stuff. I want it to be about the hobby in its purest form. And I definitely don't want anyone to sit down watching Lunch Money Comics thinking I'm selling you anything. And for those reasons, I've always said no. But Whatnot wrote me a very nice email. It was a personal email from an actual real human being saying, they noticed I had done a couple of videos and they wanted to know if I would do a collaboration. They just wanted to have a sit-down conversation via video conference. And I thought, what's the harm in having a conversation? I could just turn them down and face-to-face if I wanted to. So I did, and I met with this awesome rep. She was absolutely fantastic. Not only had some really great ideas, she was very informative, answered all my questions. She was awesome. But a lot of things that she floated out there weren't things that I do. Like, I don't do live videos. They're all recorded, pre-recorded. So any of the stuff that had to do with live stuff, I wasn't interested in. Like I said, I don't sell comic books, so I'm not going to sell on Whatnot. So yeah, at the end of this conversation, I was pretty convinced like there was nothing really there for us to collaborate on. But then she asked me, well, what would the perfect collaboration be for you? And I thought, well, here's my opportunity to lay down some really strict ground rules of what I'd have to do, figuring they would never go for them. So that's what I did. I said it would have to be this, 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 and this. She said, okay, I'll have to go back to the team and we'll discuss. And that was it. And I didn't hear from them for a week, and I thought for sure there's no way they're going to go for any of that. So you can imagine my shock and surprise when they contacted me again and said, we agree to all your terms. I was floored because here's what we're going to do, guys. And this is so cool. I think this helps out so many great people. On May 15th, 2024, that's a Wednesday, that is the season finale of X-Men 97. For those of you that have been asking, yes, of course, I love the show. It's awesome. I also specified to them this had to be X-Men related. My friends Josh and Larry are going to have a Magic Geeks show on Whatnot at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And although they're going to have lots of other comic books, it's going to be very X-Men heavy in celebration of the show. During that show, I'm going to be there in person at their house, in the background, hanging out, answering your questions, helping them out sell their comic books. But here's the kicker, guys. During that show, we are going to be giving away some X-Men comic books to people in the chat, courtesy of Whatnot. They actually graciously offered to buy some X-Men books that I can give away to some of you. And this is really great for me because I had some pretty big YouTube milestones, 11,000 and 12,000 subscribers, that I didn't get around to do a giveaway for. I felt really bad about it. Super huge thanks to any of you that have subscribed to me in the last 4 months or so. But giveaways are really hard, guys. They take a lot of planning, getting these books. I also get lots of scammers. It's kind of a pain Well, this is great because, you know, Josh and Larry and whatnot can now help me give away some comic books. So I thought that was great. Whether it's, you know, one big book or lots of smaller books, I'm not really sure yet. Probably lots of books so we can get as many people to get free stuff as possible. So if you're already on Whatnot, great news for you. All you have to do is go down to my description or in the top pinned comment, and there will be a link to Magic Geek's show. All you do is click on that. You'll open up the Whatnot app and you just hit the save and notify button. And that's great because you will be notified when the show is about to start so you don't forget. Pretty simple. You just go in there. Yeah, you can buy some comic books, but just wait around and participate in the giveaway. You might get lucky. Now, if you're hearing me say all this and you're like, well, I'm not on Whatnot, stinks to be me. Well, actually, I have some better news for you. Whatnot also gave me a great referral link, which I'll also put down in that top pinned comment and down in my description. I'll also put it right here on the screen. If you click on that link and you sign up for Whatnot, which is completely free, by the way, there's no commitments whatsoever on your end. If you do buy something on Whatnot the first time, whether it's a comic book or anything else, you get $10 credit. Yeah, you can use it all up in one place, or you can save up the $10 for other things. I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. It does include, I think, taxes and shipping, but those are usually pretty small. But $10 free, guys, is nothing to shake a stick at. I thought it was really cool because those of you that have never seen the app platform before, you can get some free comic books as well. How cool is that, guys? I thought it was a win-win-win for everybody. You know, I get to give away some comic books to my lovely viewers. Josh and Larry get some attention on their show. Whatnot get some people, some new eyes on their great product. This is nothing I've ever done before, guys. It's not something I'm going to do a lot. I put a lot of consideration into this, so it didn't seem like I was selling out. And this is the least sellout option I could possibly come up with. And like I said, guys, integrity is really important to me, and I just want to make this crystal clear. During that show, I'm not selling any books myself. You know, Josh and Larry offered, hey, if you want to bring some of your books and make some money, you know, we'll put them up there. And I certainly could, but nope, just for the optics of it and just to keep that integrity and that transparency intact, none of the comic books being sold will be mine. I am just there to give away free comic books to some of you. So that's the big announcement, guys. I thought it was super cool. Hopefully you guys think it's cool as well. We'll see how it goes. You know, when you're doing this YouTube thing a lot, guys, you want to mix it up and try new things. I thought it'd be fun. What's the worst that could happen? Let me know down in the comments, guys, if you're excited to see this. And if you have any questions, I'll put all the information down below in the top pinned comment and down in that description. So what does that have to do with all the books in front of me? Well, I got these from Josh and Larry while I was discussing with them this whole idea. They had recently got in a lot of awesome X-Men comic books, guys, and one of the biggest benefits of having people that sell comic books in general, or in a case like Whatnot, is when they get new collections in, I can go look at it and get first dibs, and that's what I got. And I got a great stack of comic books at a fantastic price. So first up, we have this right here. This is What If number 9, and this is what if the X-Men died on their first mission. I love these what if storylines, these hypotheticals, and I especially love it when it's related to the X-Men, of course. And in this story here, they basically posit what happened if the original X-Men team and the new X-Men that were recruited in Giant Size X-Men number 1 all perished on Krakoa during that fateful mission. So imagine a scenario, all the X-Men are wiped out. What happens? Well, the only ones that survived were the ones that didn't go, Professor X and the Beast. And the Beast basically recruits a new X-Men team. So that's what this story's about. I read it. It's awesome. Absolutely love it. Very cool book, guys. Happy to pick it up. Those of you watching X-Men 97, I just talked about it, might have noticed the bad guy, the creepy Native American demon called the Adversary. It looks like a big like hawk kind of owl thing that was sort of haunting Storm and Forge. Well, his first appearance is in this issue right here. This is X-Men number 188, first cameo appearance of the Adversary, who sort of like Forge's arch nemesis in a lot of ways. So I thought that was pretty cool. A book I already have, but this is a higher grade one. In a book I can never say no to, New Mutants number 99, some Rob Liefeld work right here. Of course, this is the issue after the first appearance of Deadpool, but there's lots of first appearances in this as well. This is the first appearance of the character Shatterstar. Any of you guys that grew up in the 90s like me know exactly who Shatterstar was. He was pretty cool. First appearance of the character Feral. Both of them were longtime members of X-Force, which continued right after issue number 100. And also the first time that the character of the second Thunderbird takes on a new name of Warpath. So I can't say no to this book, guys. It's pretty cheap, but it's cool. I like Shatterstar. I admit it. But there were some other really cool things that Larry had put aside because he knew I might like them. I just mentioned the Rocketeer, how much I like the Rocketeer. Well, he had this. So this is a huge magazine-sized graphic novel of the entire 5 chapters of the original Rocketeer story by Dave Stevens. So originally, this was published in multiple parts, in multiple comics. Most sort of infamously, Rocketeer wasn't even on the cover of the first couple ones. But this consolidates all of those stories into one. Yeah, and guys, it's huge, large format, full color, super cool. You can read the entire Rocketeer story. And those of you that have watched the movie, the movie is pretty faithful. It follows this storyline pretty close. I'm happy to have this. Enjoy this awesome art. Very cool. It has a couple forwards and introductions by Harlan Ellison. Just great, guys. Didn't go for a little bit of money. Yeah, and I got a package deal for all this pretty cheap. Really happy to get this and be able to read it. And the last one I want to show you, this is great. If you can't afford a really cool cover, guys, there's almost always reprints that you can get. And that's the case with this one, but it's also cool in its own right. This is Marvel Superheroes number 8. It's from 1975. And this is a magazine-size black and white printing of Silver Surfer number 4, which has this very famous, iconic John Buscema cover. People love this comic cover. One of the best of the Silver Age. Absolutely. A story by Stan Lee, but this Buscema art absolutely is awesome. It's an expensive book. It's a book I want someday, guys, but I'm happy to have this. And also, you can really appreciate the black and white art on the inside. Super huge bonus for me. There's 2 stories in here. The second one is X-Men number 4, first appearance of the Brotherhood of Mutants, including first appearance of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Perfect, guys. Super happy about it. Absolutely a great pickup here. And here's the crazy part, guys. I got all this stuff from Larry for 20 bucks. 20 bucks for all of this. I thought that was a fantastic deal. I mean, I think this Dave Stevens is worth that, or at least I've seen it go for more than that at comic book shows. Pretty awesome, guys. And I got to tell you, while I was there looking at these comic books, I noticed some pretty awesome stuff that those guys had gotten recently, X-Men related and otherwise. And there's going to be some pretty cool sneak peeks that I'm going to show not only on YouTube, but especially on Instagram. Make sure you follow me there, guys. I'll be showing all sorts of cool sneak previews of what they're going to have in their future shows. There's some pretty cool stuff, including some things from some original cartoon series in the 80s and 90s, including the original X-Men animated series. Can't wait to show that off. Can't wait to show it off, guys. Pretty cool. So that's what I got from Josh and Larry, guys. Moving on, let's go into something I got from one of my sisters. I have 2 younger sisters. My youngest one just got married. Congratulations. While I was at the wedding, my other sister came up from Oregon where she lives. She knows what I like. She found a local person selling comic books, and she found this. This is awesome. So this is the Comic Reader number 207 from 1982. And what these comic readers are, they were sort of previews for some upcoming comic books, similar to the ones that we get when we go to our local comic book store. This is how they were published in the 70s and 80s in like a comic book format, full of sort of pictures and summaries and letters of what's going on in the industry. How cool is that? But the best part about these guys, they often have some very neat, unique art. And this one, of course, features my favorite character of Nightcrawler, done by one of my favorite X-Men artists of Dave Cockrum. Awesome comic book. My sisters know me so well, guys. And I believe this one has a back cover that's awesome as well. Here we have Storm, my second favorite X-Men character. So how cool is this, guys? Yeah, I'd never seen this before. Not only is it cool just to see that snapshot in time of what was going on in the industry in 1982, but this is just a great comic book cover. Absolutely fantastic. My sisters know me so well. Thanks so much, sis. Really happy you picked this one up for me. So this last batch of comic books I got from a not so strange and unusual place, my local comic book store, His and Her Comics in Greenfield, Massachusetts. I love this store. It's one of the best in New England, in my opinion, and I have a great relationship with the owner, Nishan. Whenever he gets in something that he knows I like, I usually get a text about it. And he got in a collection of a lot of independent and underground comics, which may not seem like something I'm really into, but as I mentioned, guys, you know I like Dave Stevens, and usually when you find stuff like this, you can find some Dave Stevens hidden within. But like I said, I really like The Rocketeer. I like his more obscure stuff. I'm not into like the good girl stuff that everyone else is into. So I definitely have some deep cuts for you this time, guys. Probably some comic books you haven't seen before in the Dave Stevens conversation, like this one. So this is Quack number 1. It's from 1976, published by Star Reach Productions. And yeah, this is a really cool Frank Bruner cover, and it's full of multiple stories. And this is really early, guys. 1976, this is early in Dave Stevens' career and features one of his first stories ever, which is featuring Cosmo Cat. Yeah, it's a small story with his art. I'll throw some of it up on the screen right now. I thought it was really cool, guys. I've never seen it before. He had multiple copies of it, and a lot of the Dave Stevens hunters in the area were informed and wanted to pick one up. So I thought that was super cool. And on this sort of same front of obscure Dave Stevens one-shots, we have this. This is from the very next year, 1977. This is Fear and Laughter #1. There's a single story in here called Showdown in the Sewers by Dave Stevens as well. Multiple stories, but he did one in here, again, early in his work. Very cool, guys. You don't see this stuff every day. A lot of people don't even know about them. And I think I got both of these for like 25 bucks. He sold them to me before. They're really high grade and pretty obscure and hard to find. But the last one is this. My good friend Ben, who also loves Dave Stevens, picked this up for me out of the same collection. I wasn't there the first time the collection showed up. And this is one of my favorite Dave Stevens covers, guys. This is the Comico Christmas Special #1. It's from 1988, full of lots of short stories. But of course, we have a great Dave Stevens cover right here of aliens. I don't know what they're doing, but they're aliens and they're cool looking. Again, not the super girly art most people know about, but I think it's pretty cool. One of my favorite Dave Stevens covers, guys. And I haven't even paid Ben for this. I don't even know what he got it for, but he finds this all the time. He's found them in quarter bins and dollar bins. Look for this book, guys. You can definitely find it. Look for the Comico trade dress at the top. Pretty quick red flag to try to pick them out and see if you can find a good one. So there you go, guys. 3 kind of obscure Dave Stevens comics I got from his and hers that are cool. But the last comic book I got, definitely a more traditional one. I've been looking for it for a while, and the price was right. It is this. This is Giant Size Chillers #1. It's from 1974. This is part of the, although it's more of a giant size, more of like an annual, it is part of the Tomb of Dracula run done by Wolfman and Colin. Great cover by John Romita Sr., actually, and this is the first appearance of Lilith, the daughter of Dracula. Now, to be crystal clear, there are 2 Liliths in the Marvel Universe. You have Lilith, this one, who is a vampire, obviously, and then the other one is the demon mother of all monsters that first showed up in the Midnight Suns storyline in the 90s. Of course, we're talking about the vampire here, and whenever people talk about, you know, possible MCU films that involve Blade or the Midnight Suns, they often talk about one of the 2 Liliths. But guys, I got this because I love Tomb of Dracula. I have lots of Tomb of Dracula comic books. I did not have this one. It can go for a little bit of money, and I got it for a good price. I got it for 25 bucks, which I think is great. And the reason why I did is because it's hard to see, but there's a lot of overspray on this book. This happens sometimes during the printing of the book where the ink would get sprayed out. So it's actually often on the sides. You can kind of see it. It's on the edges of the pages, but luckily it doesn't go on the interior pages. So you can barely see it. I'm fine with it, guys. It's pretty cool. I've wanted this book for a while. And again, I got it for 25 bucks. I think is a pretty good deal. Awesome. One more thing to show you. I told you I have a great relationship with the owner, Nishan. It's not just stuff for me. When I was there, I was looking through some other things he had, like kids-related stuff. Flipped through them, mentioned how much my kids love comic books, and he had a couple things he wanted me to give my kids for free because he's that sort of guy. For my daughter, we have Ziggy's Sunday Funnies. Ziggy was by Tom Wilson. It was a cartoon strip in newspapers. Yep, safe for my daughter to read. She's already been digging into it. She likes it a lot. And for my son, one of my personal favorites growing up, guys, Calvin and Hobbes by Bill Watterson. I used to read this all the time. Can't go wrong with Calvin and Hobbes, guys. I'm pretty happy to have my son get involved in this. So let me know down in the comments if any of you love Calvin and Hobbes as much as I did growing up. I think it's pretty awesome. So a huge thank you once again to Nishan, not just for, you know, selling me these great books cheap, but also some great stuff for my kids, guys. This is what's awesome about your local comic book store. Always support your local comic book stores, guys, and they will always support you. So there you go. That was another big comic book roundup full of all sorts of strange and unusual things I got in strange and unusual places, along with a big announcement of something I've never done before. So there's a lot to unpack here. Head on down to the comments and let me know what you think. What do you think is your favorite pickup? And man, you got some weird stuff to pick from. Was it any of the stuff I got at the estate sale? Was it some of the comic books I got from my friends? Definitely stay tuned for more information on this really cool collaboration. I hope to see you there. Look down in the description for more information. Was it any of this really obscure Dave Stevens stuff that I got at my LCS? Was it the Giant Size Chillers? My personal favorite, guys, might actually be this comic reader from my sister. It's an awesome cover. Or maybe it's the really weird stuff. We get a couple comic books from France. We have a box of Rocketeer collector cards. And of course, who can say no to a X-Men board game found at a indoor flea market? You never know what you're going to find in these strange and unusual places, guys, which is why you have to keep hunting for them there. Thank you so very much, all of you, for watching. Definitely sign off down below. Let me know what you think of everything. I hope to see you on May 15th. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.